wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'll be showing you how to build this medieval mud house. We'll be using mud in both the walls and the roof, and this unconventional block looks really fantastic here. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind that where it says 2 materials with 1 number, it means you need a mixture of those supplies, and it's up to you how much of each you have for that distribution. Here is the outline for today's build. You can see that the main part of the structure that touches the ground is 13 by 7 blocks as a rectangle. Then there are some details marked in sticking out from that basic border. Also, in some concrete, you can see the chimney and then the posts at the front. You can put an outline like this to help you build. We're going to start this build using some mossy stone brick, and we're going to build 4 high all the way around the base of this outline, so this 13 by 7 rectangle. I'm just going to mix these 2 blocks together as I build here, just coming up with a distribution that I'm happy with. You'll see as I go I'll be breaking some blocks and replacing them until I get a look that I like. You can use as much or as little mossy stone brick as you'd like. So I've got 4 high on this wall, and then I'll just continue round. You can see that I'm leaving these details out as well as where we've got the chimney. I'm just going straight in a rectangle. Go. Adding in texture like this really elevates your build. It's the small details that make a big difference. Almost gone round. Now here I've got my doorway, so this is on the right hand side of the build when you're looking at the front, and you can see that we've got 2 groups of 2 marked out. So this one is 3 in from the front wall and 4 in from the back wall, so I'll leave a 2 high gap and then just continue adding in my mossy and stone brick. If you're looking for a great place to play Minecraft and get some exclusive content like how to design builds and exclusive tutorials, make sure you check out my Patreon. I'd love to have you join my community. Alright, we're almost done here. And I think 1 more mossy stone brick there. There we go. We've got our mossy stone brick in, and our stone brick and our base walls. Next, we're going to prepare to put the top layer on. So I'm going to start with some pink wool, and we're going to mark in our windows to begin with. The first window is going to be 1 block in on this side and 1 block up. So I'll mark in a 2 high gap like this. Then I'll rotate round and mark in 2 on this wall, like that, and 1 back here. So these 2 are kind of connected on a diagonal. Then I'm going to find the center of this wall, which is here, and I can check that by counting that there's the same number of blocks on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, and then I'll put a window to either side of this. Like that. Then I'll come round to the left hand side of the build, and I'm going to put in 2 windows here and here, like this. And then I want to count in 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to mark in a doorway here. Now you'll see that I'm going to put this doorway so it's centered above this point here, so this center post, and of course this one's going to be touching the ground and just be 2 blocks high. So you can see we've got all of our windows marked in now. Next, we can switch to some white wool, white concrete powder and calcite and start filling in the wall so it's 4 blocks high, so it'll sit 1 block above where we've got these windows. And I'm going to do this in a similar way to how I did the mossy and regular stone brick down there, just going back and forth between the blocks until I get a look that I'm happy with. And off we go. And there we go, we've got all of these walls in now. And we've got our placeholder blocks for our windows. So next we're going to grab out some glass. Now you can choose what color glass you'd like to use for your build. I like to use the light grey stained glass as it has kind of a foggy look, which I think works really well for medieval style builds. But you could just as easily use regular glass or white glass, or you could have some fun and do some stained glass. So I'm going to place these and now replacing the pink wool blocks. You could have used any placeholder block there, dirt works fine. And keep in mind that if you have a block of white concrete powder above your window, it's going to fall when you break the placeholder block. Like when I go and put the door in later here, it's going to fall. In that case, you can always move it around so you don't end up with the white concrete powder above your doorway. I'm going to make some quick adjustments here like this. And there we go. Now I can break that doorway out and I don't have my blocks falling. Now we're going to add some more details before we add on the front room of this build. I'm going to start by adding some details to this stone wall here. So I'm placing them on these 2 points. They should line up with the outer 2 most posts. Then I'll add stairs on top. And then I'll add 2 chiseled stone bricks stacked on top, just like that. Then for the center one, I'm going to start off the same with my block and then stair. Then I'll add a wall and then a chiseled stone brick on top of that. I'm going to complete the rest of these decorations around this stone brick section in the same way. Now I find it easier when I'm working on a repetitive design like this where it goes all the way around the build to do one step at a time. So I'll go around and place all my stone brick bases in, then all my stairs, all my walls, and then finally all my chiseled stone brick. And then they're all done. Then I'm going to switch back to my stone brick stairs, and on the 2 shorter sides of the build in these 2 wide gaps, I'll add a pair of stairs. Just like that. And then across the back in these 3 wide gaps, I'm going to add 2 stairs and a slab. You can see I'm leaving this one out as the chimney is going to be going there. But they should look like that. Next we're going to add in the posts. You can see that I've got some post locations marked in here. So these are spaced 3 away from where we have our decorations on the stone brick, and then they're 3 apart. We should have 3 in total. I'm going to build up 4 high in each of these spots using some of my spruce logs here, and then I'm going to connect them up to each other and then to the build as well. I'll also have some logs sticking out from each join. Now before we add some more details here, I'm going to grab my stone brick slabs and fill in each of these corners. Alright, now I'll switch to some spruce slabs. I'm going to go all the way around the edge, as well as filling in this 3x3 gap here and the 3x3 gap here. We have a nice platform like that. I'm also going to come underneath and add some archways. These will just be 2 spruce stairs and a spruce trapdoor. So our raised platform should look like this. Now we're going to work on the walls that are going on this platform. Before we place the actual walls in, I'm going to add in a few posts, just the bases of them. You can see that there's 3, the one is on the center, and then there's 1 to either side. I'm also going to grab out the same glass that I've used in the rest of my windows, so in my case I've got my light grey stained glass. Now for these walls you'll need some mud brick, some packed mud, and then granite. Now if you don't like the look of granite, I think it looks really nice with these 3 blocks. You could substitute it for some terracotta. That's a great idea. Alright, let's put in our key items. So we've got 2 windows here, and you can see that they are 1 back from where we have our post and then 1 in, so they should be 3 blocks away from this wall. And then for our windows, they're going right next door, here and here, just like that. Now we can fill in this rectangle lining up with where our windows and our doors are with our 3 mud brick and granite items. You just want to aim for a distribution that you like, and we're going for a wall that is 4 high here. I'm just using a little bit of granite as an accent block. I'm also keeping in mind to not make this symmetrical, so I'm not going to place each block in the same place as I had it on the other side. Go onto this wall now. Well, I've missed a gap back here, I shall fill that in. When you're doing randomized textures like this, never be afraid to break and replace blocks until you get a look that you like. Almost there, and I'm happy with that. I can go ahead and break my pink placeholder blocks and add in some glass for these windows. Now we're going to start adding in some more spruce framing. I'm going to build up so I am at the same height of the walls on these posts here. Then I'm going to come to the corner and build up to that same height, the corner again, that same height, and I'll go to the other side and build up, leave a 1 block gap, build up, and then to the corner again. So the front should look like this. Let's rotate round to the sides now. I'm going to have one in the center and then again on the corner, and I'll do the same on the other side. Then we'll come to the back. I'm going to come 3 in, 1, 2, 3, and put in a post. I'm going to do that again here, 1, 2, 3. Now you'll notice that we've got a floating spot here, so you'll need to grab out 1 more stone brick stair so you can place in this post. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We've got all of these main posts in. I'm going to add 1 more block on top, and then I'm going to connect all these posts up. So I'll connect them along the edges like this. And in this case, I'm going to go right over the top of this wall. Then in this section here, I'm going to have a 1 long beam going all the way across. And then some smaller beams. Then we've got this section here, I'll connect them up. And I'm going to add 1 extra beam going across like this. Then I'll switch to some spruce planks and place them on top of the walls all the way around. Once those are in, you can fill in the rest of the space here with some spruce slabs. So it should look like that from above, and you can see we've got our section resting on top of our platform. Before we continue working on the exterior, I'm going to come inside and add some details in here. I'm going to start by adding in my floor. So for the base of this build, I'm going to use a mixture of andesite and polished andesite. And I'm just placing these in a checkered pattern. I really like the subtle detail this gives. Of course, you could use anything you'd like. Almost there with the floor. There we go. Now I'm going to add in some beams across here. So I've got a long one going the whole length of the build. Then I'm going to mirror the ones on the upper level, like this. And I'll fill in all these gaps with my spruce slabs. Now, if you don't like the look of having these beams in your floor, you could easily leave them out from this level. Alright, there we go. You can see I've left this back corner empty because I'm going to be adding in a spiral staircase here. Now it's a very compact space, so we need a compact staircase. So what I'm doing is I'm rotating these stairs round like this as I go up. Then I'm going to grab out some spruce trapdoors to finish off the look, and I'll place these on either side of each of the stairs like that, going up. You can see this is a fully functional staircase and it takes up just a tiny amount of space. I'm going to add some railing to this top level as well. And you can see that the way I've placed it, I can still add blocks very close to this edge, which will make it easier when it comes to decorating. I'll quickly add in some lighting as well. You could add in more decorative lighting if you'd like, but for now I just want to light up the space. Come down here and do the same thing. Now you could add in your ladder now, although I like to leave that to when I'm decorating. So that way I can choose where I want to access my attic based on how I decorate the rest of the space. But for that I'll just break a hole in my roof and add my ladder straight up the wall. Alright, let's head back outside now and start working on some more of the exterior details. We're going to be adding in the roof soon, but before we do that, I'm going to add in the chimneys. I'm going to come around to the back of the build here and start working on this first chimney. Once again, we'll be using packed mud, mud bricks and granite in a mixture. So what we're aiming for here is the same shape, but it doesn't matter if your randomized texture is different to mine. So you can see I'm creating a base like this, and then I'll fill in the back here just with some mud bricks so I don't have mobs spawning. Then I want to create a shape to this chimney, so I'm going to be using some stairs as I come up. Once again, I want to fill in back here as well. So it's looking like this. We're also going to go in with some walls. That just adds a little bit of extra dimension. Okay, I'm going to add one more mud brick on top of here, and then I'm going to fill in a one layer at the back. Just like that. I'm going to have some stairs on top of here, rotating round, and then I'll connect up to this beam. Just like this. I'm going to add some walls on top of here, just 3 high. I'll add a block on top of that, and then a stair. Alright, let's continue up our chimney here. I'm going to add in one more stair here, and then I'm going to build a 2x2x2 cube just behind it. So there we go, and I'll go one further back. Like that. Okay, let's add some more on top of here. So I'm going to build a 4 high on these back 2. Got some invisible blocks here, so I've got 2 high. Then I'm going to add another one, 3, and one more on top. There we go, my blocks are no longer invisible, and I've checked that I like the pattern that they're in. Alright, let's add a few more details that are going to go in front of here. I'm going to start by curving some stairs. These are going to go up like this, curving round, then I'll have a stair on top of that, then a block on top of here. And I'm going to grab some mud bricks for that, and then one more block on top of there. So it should sit up one higher. Then I'll go in with some walls, just 2 here. And then I'm going to come around to this side, and I'm going to add in a few walls along here. I'm going to go up 3 high, so that's to the same height. Okay, next we're going to go in with some stairs. I'm placing one here. I need to build up behind here 2 blocks. So I can add in one more stair that's curved back around, and I can also add in one more wall on top of here. So it should look like this so far. Let's continue building up. I'm going to go on top one more layer, and then I'm going to do another set of stairs curving around like before. There we go, like that. And I'll have a block on top of here with a stair facing forwards this time. I'm going to place one more mud brick on top of here with a stair. Then I'll have one more block. I'm using packed mud, and I'm going to come back down to this height here to start building up a few more blocks. So I'm going to find this mud brick here, so I am at one below the top of this wall, and place one block back. Then I'm going to build up another 3 high. On top of here, I'm going to add in 4 walls. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should look like this from the side. And this from the back of the build. Now that this chimney is finished, let's add one more to the front. I'm going to come round here to the front of the build, and I'm going to be placing these on top of these spruce logs here. I'm going to place in 1 packed mud and then 1 mud brick, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to build up a few blocks. Just like that. I'm going to go here with a few more blocks. I've got a granite and then a stair. And I'm going to come up with another mud brick so I can place another upside down stair like that. Behind here, we've got 2 walls going in. And a granite on top of here with a stair on top of that. Alright, next we want to add a mud brick on top of here and build up a few blocks. I'm going to go up just a few, just 3 this time. I'm going to add in a stair and a granite block. And then we need to finish off this chimney by adding in 1 more stair on top of here, like that, and then 2 more blocks. Just like this. We have a few walls to add in before the chimney is truly finished, just 1 here. Then I'm going to come back so I'm level with this stair and add in 2 more. 1, 2. Perfect. With our chimneys in place, let's start working on the roof. I'm going to grab some spruce logs and have them facing out from each of these joints here, and then I'll go around the build and do the same thing. You can see I'm leaving out this one here and that one on that side as well, but we've got all of our other joints in. Now I'm going to grab some spruce slabs and fill in these 2 gaps here. I'm also going to come to each of the 3 wide gaps and add in 2 stairs and then a slab. Of course, at the 5 wide gap, we'll need to add in a few extra slabs, and where we've got our chimney, I'm just going to add in a stair here. I'll then place in some spruce slabs in each of the 1 wide gaps. Here's how it should look from above. Now I'm going to switch to my white wool, white concrete pattern and calcite again, and we're going to add some gables. I'm going to start on this smallest gable here and build 5 blocks across at the bottom. Then I'll build 2 blocks high and 3 blocks across on top of this. Like that, and then 2 blocks in the center. Like that. I'll then grab spruce logs and build up to the same height, and then come 1 forward. This will line up with where our roof is, and then I'm going to come 1 more out from here so that way I can hang a lantern. So it should look like that. Next we're going to work on the larger gables, so I'm going to rotate round to the left side first. I'm going to start by building across with my white blocks. So I'm going 7 blocks across and I'm within the bounds of the spruce logs. Then I'm going to place in my windows. These are just 2 high and spaced 1 apart from the center like that. I'll build 2 up in the center. You can see the windows connect nicely now, and 2 up on either side. Like this. I'll build 2 on top of each window now. And fill in the gap in between. And then I want to build 3 on top of the center. Just like that. I'll then build up my spruce log to the same height and build out 2 once again. And I'm going to create the same gable on this side of the build. Placing in my windows next. And then going up in groups of 2. It's about time to get roofing now. We're going to begin this roofing process by adding in some outlines using some dark oak. So I'm going to start with some dark oak stairs here and zigzag my way up 2 layers like this. So we've got stair, upside down stair, stair, upside down stair. Then I'll place a block and then a stair and another upside down stair. Once again, a block, stair, and an upside down stair. Then I'll go up 2 blocks high. Add in a stair on top of that. Then I'm going to go in with 3 blocks going up. 1, 2, 3. So it should look like that, and I'll do the same outline on the other side. So the point should look like this. I'm going to create this same outline design on the other gable of this build, going up with my dark oak. And then this is going to allow us, when we're filling in later with our mud, to have a clear outline of where we're going. 3, and back up this side now. Just like this. Next we need to work on this smaller gable. For this gable we're going to start by using some dark oak stairs and building along this level of the spruce. I'll do that on both sides. Then we need to start coming up in a point. So I'm going to have stairs facing like this, a block on top, there's stair block. We're almost at the top here, a block and then 2 blocks on top, and I'll come up the other side doing the same thing. So your point should look like that. Then on the larger roof I'm going to switch to some dark oak slabs and build along. When I'm working on this point here, I'm just going to stop when I reach this stair, and on this side the same thing. But on the back of the build I'll just go all the way across. Like that. Now it's time to start adding in the roof using some mud and some muddy mangrove roots. So here we're going to add the texture using the muddy mangrove roots, and then we're just going up following the layers created by the roof. So we've got a layer of 1, then 2, then 2, then 3, and then 2 on the top. So I'll be switching between these 2 blocks to create texture as I go. If you're having trouble building the shape of the roof at the same time as adding in texture, you can always start by building with just mud or just your muddy mangrove roots, and then going back in and breaking in some detail afterwards. It's up to you how much of each of these blocks you use. You'll also notice that the muddy mangrove roots have a different texture depending on which way you place them. So once you know where you want them, you can always go back in and reorient them so you have even more texture. Like that. Alright, let's get filling. Once you've filled in the whole side, take a step back and check that you like the distribution of each block. I'm going to add a few blocks in here and omit a few from where I had them before, just till I create a texture that I like. I think I've got a bit too much of my muddy mangrove roots in this section, so I'll go and replace some with mud. And I'm going to move some of these blocks over here. Alright, I'm happy with that now. Let's work on the front roof. Now we're going to go about this in a similar way, but we need to be wary of where we connect these two roofs up. So for this back of main roof, we're going to be using the same thing as the back. So we're going up 1, 2, 2, 3, and then we have our 2 already at the top. But we're going to need to remember to connect it to this side roof. Here we're going to go up 1, 2, 2, and then 1. And just connecting it up as we go. So you'll see I'm going to work in a diagonal pattern. What I like to do with these confusing roofs is start on one corner and start wrapping around, and then I'll go back and forth between each layer. Here's a great point where if you're randomizing as you go, you might need to create some texture after you've created the shape of the roof. You can see I'm going to wrap this around now. I'm going to line up where these 2 blocks are going to come from. And luckily these 2 line up very nicely. And we've completed that layer, and I'll just continue doing the same thing. Make sure you're going behind your chimney when you do this. Take a step back and check how the texture is going. It's going pretty well. On to the next layer. This one is 3 high at the back wall. And when I'm coming to this section here, I'm just going to come right up to where the roof joins up, and then build straight across. You can see it should connect up very nicely here. Just like that. Then I'll come round to the other side and work on this join, and you'll see it'll connect up to what we've already built. And finally, I can fill in this 3 high gap here. And the whole roof is filled in. Now I'll take a step back, check I like my texture, and switch up some of these blocks so they're facing in different directions. There we go, and the roof is in. I'm going to be adding in some veranda type roofs over the doorways here and here. I'm going to start with this one down on the right hand side of the build, and I'm counting 2 blocks out on these 2 points and placing in a mud brick wall. You should see these are 4 apart. I'm going to add a spruce fence on top of each, and then I'm going to build along the top with some dark oak slabs, and I'm placing these 2 high to form a block. Now of course you could use blocks here, but I'm using slabs. I just like the convenience of not having to switch between the 2 supplies while I'm building. There we go, I've created my slanted roof here. I'm going to create a similar slanted roof on this balcony area. I'm going to place in 2 stone brick walls and then some fences on top, 2 high. And then once again I'll place in a row of slabs. We're going to place another row of slabs underneath here just to connect it up nicely. And then a row sticking out from here like that. So you can see it slopes downwards. We're also going to add in some railing here. For this I'm going to be using some spruce fence gates and some spruce fences. I'll also create the same railing design on the other side. Like this. Now we can start adding in some more details. I'm going to start by adding campfires to each of the tops of the chimneys and surrounding them with some spruce trapdoors. There we go. And over onto the other chimney as well. So you should need 6 campfires in total. And one down the bottom. Like that. Our chimneys are billowing now. Alright, to each window we're going to be adding 2 of our oak trapdoors as window shutters, and I'm just adding them to one side of each window. Don't forget to do the windows in your 2 gables as well. While we're up here on the gables, I'm going to go and add in some fences. And I'm going to add in a fence over here as well, like that. Okay, back to adding some details to this part of the build. I'm going to add fences underneath each of these logs. There we go, all the way around with our fences now. And we want to add some details to these doorways as well. So for this, I'm going to create little arches using some spruce. You might need to use a placeholder block here to get your stair facing the right way. And you can always flip your gates to get in. Yeah, I'll do that on the other side. Like that. I'm going to place in my doorways looking from the interior of the build here, so that way they're set slightly back within the door. And I'm going to place my door down the bottom here in the same way, so I'll look from the inside and place it on this grass block. Like that. Alright, let's add in some planters now. Now these are going to be placed on different locations underneath each window, and I'm going to be using coarse dirt. I'm also going to go back in when I'm planting and replace some of this coarse dirt with moss so that I can place some drip leaves in. I'm also going to place in some planters in these corners here. You should see that when you place in this little L shape, it'll make this wall pop up like that. I'll then add my 2 trapdoors here and here, and I'll do this on the other side as well. I'm also going to add planters around the base of the stone brick section. And I'm going to look up above to make sure they're not lining up with what we have on the top. So I think I'll have a 3 wide planter here, just a 1 wide one here, and a 2 wide planter here. And I'll continue around to the other sides of the build. And of course, I'm leaving out the planter here as we have our doorway. Alright, we've got all of our planters in on those 2 levels. I'm also just going to go in and add a planter underneath each of these windows now. There we go, lots of space for greenery. But before I get to adding in this greenery, I'm going to hang some lanterns. I'm going to start by hanging these ones from the gables. On this side, I'm going to hang it 2 chains down off of a grindstone like that. On this other side, I think I'll come 3 chains down. I'm going to hang just one chain down from this front here, like that. I want to put a lantern underneath here and underneath here as well. And then I want to hang some lanterns off of my points here on the walls. So sometimes I'm going to hang them down just straight off the fence. And then on the other side, I think I'll come down with 1 chain. And I'll just go about like this, hanging some lanterns. Kind of alternating between the two. There we go, lots of light in our build now, and I'm also going to come underneath here and I can hang a lantern just on one of these beams to illuminate underneath there. Let's add some greenery now, it is really the finishing touch to this build. There we go, I've added some greenery to the house now. Let's have a look at what I've done. You can see I've draped some leaves, I've used birch, over and around the chimney. And I've also placed these draping over the edges of the roof and down some of the joins. I've used the same leaves to create bushes around the base of the build. This ties everything together. As for my planting, I've stuck to a mixture of white flowers, so I've got these oxeye daisies, these little, what are these called? Azure blues, some lily of the valley, and then I think I have white tulips somewhere as well. I've also used some ferns, some small ferns, and then these little drip leaves, and you can see I've placed these on the moss blocks. Keeping a simple color palette like this really lets the architecture of the build shine. I've also kept the planting around the outside of the build simple as well. I've filled up the area with lots of grass and ferns. I think this overgrown look works really well for this build, and I've created a little stream that runs off in towards the forest. I've also kept the trees fairly far away from the build themselves. This way, the spruce wood of the trees in this biome don't clash with the wood in the build of the house. I've also created a little pathway that flows from the front door underneath the covered area, and for this I've used path blocks and the rooted dirt. They have a similar color palette that works well with the colors of the build, and then I've used these mud brick walls to create some lighting that flows along the pathway. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you would like custom tutorials and some other awesome benefits, check out my Patreon. I'll see you in another video.